2018. So you ready for some good news? Some bad news. And the other shit. The good news. The bad news. Okay, so the good news is that it's the end of the year, and the bad news is the end of the year. I don't know what to tell you all. We're heading into the holidays, and the biggest mystery is what kind of crazy event is Trump going to do between now and the New Year's. I don't know what to tell you. We're going on hiatus, and I sure hope I don't have to come back with a special broadcast, because if I do, it could be, I was trying to think of the circumstances under which I would come back for emergency broadcasts.
Right.
And there's a number of them that could happen. One, Trump fires special counsel. I had to come back for a special broadcast. Two, North Korea fires another bomb. Right over Japan and the Japanese, who are now working on their military. They totally re-examined. It's been a while since World War II, so they're re-examining those agreements.
Right.
And looking at it, you're looking at a militarized Japan coming up. So we could come back for that. Or it could be something, perhaps a little more pleasant for some of us. Because I made this number of predictions. Jared Kushner, indicted. Remember, for those of you who didn't see it, on 5/22/17, I did a special broadcast. At that time, we were on hiatus. It was our spring hiatus. And so I came back with a special broadcast on 5/22 of this year to make predictions about the Trump presidency. And on 5/22, I had predicted that it was going to jump off of 120 days. I was wrong. It jumped off in 150 days. But we have been the most consistent with our predictions. And I will remind you, I predicted 12 to 18 of the White House staff indicted. I predicted jail time for Jared Kushner. Okay. People go, oh, shit. I said, I predicted jail time. Okay. I predicted that the president would be impeached and that 2 years after he was removed from office, he would be tried for treason. Okay. Now, like I said, we're headed into 2018. Let's see what's happening. Because they say they have a tax bill, but we have to see. One of the things that makes all of this uniquely possible is that I predicted that the president, as sloppy as his habits are, that there would be, and I quote myself, there would be an orgy of evidence. I predicted that they would leave sloppy trails everywhere, like skid marks on your sheets. Okay. Okay.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
I wanted the correct analogy.
Wow.
I wanted
to go there.
I said there would be evidence everywhere. And I'm standing, and as it's working out, that's exactly what's happening. The latest issue that's coming up is the emails. On the government email server, these people are not bright. And not only that, when you're not bright and you're arrogant, like I said, that's why I predicted the trail of evidence, because they weren't going to try to cover their tracks. They were going to be defiant and say, this is the way we do stuff, stop me. And so that's going to lead to the culmination, what's coming in 2018. Unfortunately, I have a real fear that a lot is going to happen before the first of the year, you all. I don't know. You notice you haven't really heard anything from Mueller's team, right? Even the president didn't even know they was coming right to the day they walked in. You didn't hear nothing. You could have heard a rat piss on cotton. Okay? Okay, that's quiet. Okay, nothing. And you're not going to hear, because I said they had the whole issue with the president was what my prediction was, that there was so much evidence. It was the matter of getting the staff in. And I also told you, it's predicted back on 5/22, that the president will continue to break laws. I told you, I said he would continue to break laws all the way to the end. That's why Trump is going to be in the unique position, because most presidents, Nixon resigned. Trump's going to have so much ill will, they're going to come after him after he's impeached. Okay? All right, because we're going to make an example of his ass. He's going to jail. At least we know some of his family is. Jared, yeah, he looks so soft. Poor Jared. I'm just saying. I try to think of him in the Bible. Well, anyway. Just something to think about. So, my predictions are that you're in a crisis zone, because this is their timing. It's not our timing. The president says he wants the tax bill completed before Christmas. Oh, Lord. Some of the people ain't read the stuff. They're going to wheel John McCain in and try to wheel him in from the hospital to vote. And then, but the good news, remember, just like they're unraveling all of the things that Obama did, well, you can unravel this. You can unravel this. It may take you a while. And I'll remind you as we head into these holidays that perspective is everything. And this is where the wisdom of age becomes very pertinent. Progress is never made in times of prosperity. You think it is. And you make gains, little gains. You have money to spend. So you might get some roads. Stuff will happen like that. But real progress, real change comes with great pain. So it always occurs around and surrounding tragedy and suffering. That's what the civil rights movement was. People died. People were killed. People were beaten. So that led to the change that we all get to enjoy today. So understand that this that we're going through is a necessary process. America knows it must make sure that this can never happen again. I find myself going back to look at the Third Reich, because I never understand what made the Germans go crazy, right? You start wondering, what happened in Nazi Germany? Did they just go insane? Okay? You know, is this what happened when the Tutsis went after the Hutus? Do societies just go insane and go and kill? Well, yes, they do. Yes, they do. You need the proper ingredients. I just published on Facebook a study that said that 90% of Trump supporters will still support him even if he did collude with the Russians. They just don't care. See, this is and we know what this is. This is like when you pick a side, it'll make no difference. You're just going down with the side. Going down.
They hate the side more than they dislike his behavior.
But again, let me remind you, this is how we move forward. And indeed, I've been the one reminding some of my friends that this is progress. And they are shocked. Mario, what do you mean? I said, listen, when I was 16, all of America thought like Trump. That was all of America. I'm sorry. That was America. America was Trump. Okay, when I was growing up. Racism, overt racism was the standard. Okay, I was in LA's first busing program. I was one of those children walking the gauntlet into the school. Okay, racism this is California. So it's always been there. What's wonderful today is it's down to 30%. Come on, you guys. Back when I was 16, it was 80% of America would have been a Trump supporter, 85%. This represents progress. The majority of Americans today are more tolerant. They are more diverse. We are exposed to different cultures. When I was 16, the only Latin American country you knew was Mexico. The only one you could name. Now look, that's all progress. When I was 16, people whistled at women. Remember the Hey Mama days of the 60s? Hey Mama. Remember that? We have grown. We have grown as a society. We have grown, and now we respect women. It's out there, okay? At least you will be socially outcast because of racism, misogyny. You will be socially outcast. It's when I was a kid, you could be openly bigoted and racist, and they did on TV. I'll never forget Sam Yorty running against. How many times did Tom Bradley run for mayor? Like 3? I remember the time when Mayor Yorty got on TV and said, "You really want one of them to be mayor?" America used to speak to us in much more defining terms. So remember, this does represent progress. And if we can survive Trump, well, as if the North Koreans could survive Trump,
True.
then we'll all be in a better place. The world, America, I can tell you, when those women hit the streets worldwide, out of a sheer organic movement, when women across the world took to the streets, I was profoundly affected because it was a sign of the time that we live in. See, when you're in it, I'm convinced that when you're in it, you don't recognize history being made. It's being made all around you, but because you're in it, you don't recognize it. But take a look around. Those movements of individuals. Can you imagine the international party that's going to happen on the day that they announce Trump's impeachment? Can you imagine? That'll be. Can you imagine? I want his daughter to be saying, "Daddy, they're celebrating all over the world." I want him because he's going to have a hard time not watching TV. So when they impeach his ass and they watch the demonstrations go all over the world, everywhere they gotta get a camera, they're gonna see people taking. They say, "Daddy, you the most hated man in the whole world. You earned every bit of it." But just imagine a worldwide celebration when we finally realize how much more we have in common. And how maybe we weren't so bad before. Maybe we can work with it, If ever there was a time for the independents, a new party, that would be the time, even though I'm so sure that they would just corrupt that in time too. But we have to move forward nonetheless. We have to make changes. The Republicans have let themselves be co-opted, and now are the party that supports men who date 14-year-olds. Okay. There becomes a point at which you have to take responsibility. And the Democrats are so disorganized and unfocused that you think they've captured 1 percentage point? With all the Trump stuff going on, do you think the Democratic Party has gained 1 percentage point? 1! No. And everybody, and the truth was, Hillary was crooked. She just wasn't as bad as Donald Trump. And so it is. And so, as we move toward 2018, I wish for all of us peace. I want the president to continue through the holidays. I think his advisors are well-intentioned and actually quite smart. They're trying to keep the president happy. So they kind of filter what news gets to him. Because, see, if he gets bad news, then he's going to say stuff that makes their job more difficult. I want him happy because I know he has his finger on the bomb. And he might bomb North Korea just to prove to you he's a man. Okay? Because he's that kind of idiot.
Yeah.
He could have a bad day. Melania won't give him that or something. His head will be he'll be on the bus. I don't know. I'm ready to blow it up. So I'm just saying, we want the president, and I said this before, we want the president overconfident all the way up until the day you announce his impeachment. And at that point in time, you got to move quickly to remove him. Even though I admit, they say, well, that's going to be Pence. And I already predicted, 522, Pence is going too. Pence was at all the, knows about all the meetings. Pence is gone. The next president is Paul Ryan. That's a fact. I predicted that 522. That's the next president. I had to go Google it. You go Google it. Look up the chain of command. It's on the internet. Learning moments. You can go Google it and see the chain of command. That's why Paul Ryan's not going anywhere. He knows he's the next president of the United States. And don't worry about it, because he'll be just as effective as he's been as Speaker.
You slamming him early, aren't you?
Which is nothing.
You're slamming him early.
And remember, too, there's a real chance that once we get rid of Trump, we can easily slide back into the same old shit. Don't make the mistake. MSNBC wasn't your friend before Trump. CNN wasn't your friend before Trump. It's just that Don Lemon and all the folks are so much better to watch them fighting Trump. So once Trump is gone, we go back to the old way, right? When you just ignored us, right? So that's fake news. Because a lot of the complaints are real. A lot of the complaints are real. So remember, even this, when you do get back done with Trump, we go back to the same old shit, right? And remember, I said this too back in 522. The issues and complaints of those Trump supporters, as ill-advised as they are in supporting him, but those issues that they had, those are real issues. Those are real. And the part of the failure of the Democratic Party was to respond to their needs. Well, I had suggestions for the coal mining community. I said, let's go get a panel, identify every community in the whole United States. And every place where they're poor, impoverished, they don't pay taxes. How about start with that? Start with that. All the coal mining community, they don't pay any taxes. You could make them into the new Silicon Valley. You could retrain them. Why can't you you can't, I know, it's too much money. See, can't invest in humankind. Well, we could go to the communities. We could get a task. We can get a panel of the best minds in this country and decide how to change those areas that are chronically impoverished. We could do something to change that. We can invest. When you look at what you spent on this war and think about those monies applied to our populations, their children get to go to college for free. You grow up in coal mining, it's just free. Oh, but that's too radical. So, I remind you, you got to have something for the Trump supporters. That's coming from your radical leftist brother. Because you know something? I want change, and I want real progress. And you need to understand, they supported Trump because they had no hope. No hope. This would be the best time to have a real national movement and bridge people together, is come and deal with some of their issues. Their complaints are legitimate. In those struggling rural communities, those complaints are real. Let's do something for them. All we have to do, I said, was just identify the worst places in this country based on the economics, and let's go and do something for every one of those communities. Barely getting it. Bernie Sanders' proposal for Puerto Rico will never go through. So remember that. Our stepchild, our colored stepchild. Puerto Rico's our colored stepchild. Or hope the word colored. See, in my lifetime, my mother's been more, but see, in my lifetime, I've been colored, Negro. I didn't become black till I was like 14. African American came after that. So I had colored, And Negro, and I remind people, Negro is what white folks called you when they were being nice to you. When they were being nice to you, they said, oh, we have a young Negro here for us today. And so I don't have the same perspective on Negro. I was Negro a long time. And so we move forward. Again, 2018, real change. Think about what you want to do for the Trump supporters. Think how Christian that is, in a way, or whatever. I'm non-denominational, but Buddhist too, right? Think of doing something for Trump supporters. It'll help your mentality a little bit. It'll get you in the right frame of mind, a frame of giving. It's radical, huh? Think of what you have in common with them, with those folks who are suffering. Because that'll lead us to some true progress. Because at the end of all this, they will still be there. And we'll still need to do something for them. For the holidays, I'm Marla Hemsley. That's the good news. The bad news. And the other shit.